There's an elephant and donkey both on shaky ground, but we got the truth and we gonna shout it loud. From the healthcare to taxes, they can't hide from us. With a wink and a nod, we expose all the fuss. Educating the masses with a smirk on our face, bringing clarity to the headlines in this crazy race. From the White House to your house, we cover it all, putting humor in the facts, we're having a ball. Oh no, America, let's get real and laugh, teaching you the politics with a little bit of sass. Current events and headlines that blow your mind, only on Oh No America you'll find.
Hello, everybody. What's up? Look how big these headphones are. My God. Welcome back. Welcome back. Guys, I had to get some over-the-ear headphones because the in-ear ones were irritating my precious princess ears. But also, it's cold down here, and putting something over my ears actually helps keep me warm. But this does look like pew, 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 like something from outer space. And that's all right. That's all right. That's just the way it's gonna go here on Oh No America. Yeah. So hopefully you guys can hear me and everything sounds good. Can I get a what? Oh, hey VPN. Okay, so yeah. That's basically what I have to say about and the show's over. No. There's a lot going on right now. There's a lot happening in the world. I've got Mary Trump headphones. I'll take it. I'll take that all the way to the bank. Thank you. Also, Mary Trump, please, I would love to come. Let's talk. She's amazing. So here's the sitch though, guys, for real. We need to talk about just absolutely everything, but we're going to start. Let's start with the article first, actually, before we go to the interview. Yeah, this article comes to us from NBC News. Let me pull this up here, right? And it is big swings, big misses, swing and a miss. Doge struggles to back up its outsized claims. Elon Musk and President Trump continue to tout their cost-cutting, fraud-finding efforts, but high-profile claims aren't holding up to scrutiny. Yeah, this is by Jane C. Tim. This is from Today. Yeah. So Elon Musk cost-cutting, fraud-finding apparatus, the Department of Government Efficiency, came out swinging in recent days. The result, 2 stunning strikeouts. A series of announcements by Doge, as well as by claims by Musk and President Donald Trump about the agency's efforts, have crumbled under scrutiny, even as they're broadly repeated by conservative pundits, sympathetic media, and the White House. Because if you repeat a lie often enough, guys, what happens? It becomes the truth. Okay, right? 2 of the most notable claims around Social Security fraud, an $8 billion with a B, billion savings found in the Department of Homeland Security contract, have been debunked. Meanwhile, Trump's agenda is set to add the federal government's deficit well in excess of what Doge is cutting. It's amateur hour in their federal government, said Martin O'Malley, the former Maryland governor who ran the Social Security Administration under President Joe Biden. I think that was the kindest thing you could probably say, right? It's amateur hour. There's unelected people that are being given powers to go through and rummage through our personal data for reasons that nobody can quite figure out yet. It's not for efficiency. It's for, number one, AI building models. Guys, come on. AI building models It's also for profit, because what do all of the big corporations do? Okay, this is a lesson I tell my children all the time. When you are on your pajone, okay, which congrats to Apple on releasing the 16E, and we'll do a deep tech dive on that beast and why it's probably the best phone. If you haven't upgraded to the 16 or 16 Pro, I would recommend the 16E over both of those. I'll tell you why in another broadcast on another channel. That's not for here, politics, okay? But when you're on your phone and you want to have any app, okay, YouTube, for example, we're here. Thank you, YouTube, for this broadcast. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do that. All right. So when you download a free app, okay, you can see now in the Apple App Store, and I think it's crossed over into the Google App Store, what information of yours you are signing over, what they are tracking, what they're not tracking. And on some apps in the Apple Ecoverse, you can ask them not to track you and not to do these things. But I tell my children this, that you pay with one of two things in life. You pay with your money. Well, actually, one of three things. You pay with your money, your time, or your identity. That's it. Those are the commodities that we have in this world as human beings. And right now, that third choice, your identity, is actually the most valuable, most tradable, most sold and resold commodity on planet Earth. Okay? It is, you would be, like, as we're talking right now, put a 1 in the chat if you use any other form of social media besides the YouTube that you're watching me here on. Put a 1 in the chat, okay? If you're using Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, Blue Sky, I'm trying to think, Mastodon, Snapchat, TikTok, okay? Any one of these things, all right? Even your Target app, your Amazon app, okay? All of these apps have one major thing in common. They're for free. They free, right? So that app, in exchange for giving you all of the tremendous things that it gives you, the entertainment, the dopamine rush, all of these things, it takes all of your data and sells it as a package. And all of these apps talk to each other now, right? They cross-compare, and they see, what reel did you watch on Instagram more than once? What ad did you actually click on to see like more about that product? Because now when you go to Google, you're going to start seeing ads for that product everywhere. All of a sudden, you clicked on one thing on Instagram, like, ooh, that looks like a fun thing. Maybe I need that, just to see what it was about, right? And all of a sudden, now you're getting ads for that particular thing or versions of it everywhere you go. That is not by mistake. These phones are absolutely listening to us. That's why when I'm bitching about the government, I always say, and I'm a patriot at the end, because I want the listeners to know I'm a patriot. I love America. Okay, right? Because literally, I ain't about to go down for no shit. Okay? So why is Doge collecting all this aggregate data? This is a fucking gold mine for a technology mogul. Okay? Why did I tell my kids 5 years ago, you cannot have TikTok before anybody else, before all the government? Because exactly why they had hearings in Congress. Because I researched TikTok and I was like, the bro running TikTok in China is like the third person in charge of the CCP. No, thank you. And all of their servers are in China. And they are collecting psychological warfare data, which they are waging successfully here in this country. Okay? So all of that data that he's gotten from Social Security, from the Treasury, from the IRS, all of this stuff. What Elon can do with that data is start to build AI models that will then get information to the psyche of people here in America even faster, just like Russia did with Cambridge Analytica. Okay, and if you guys have not seen the documentaries on that, please do. Please, please, please do. Okay. There is no part of your life that if you have electronics in your life and you're watching me right now, every piece of electronics that you have is snitching on you. It's snitching on you. I have two of them. I've got a right ear snitch and a left ear snitch. It's a double snitch. Okay. Like literally, guys, my whole setup, my MacBook, my fucking Rodecaster, all of these things are snitching. Eaglewood, I want to tell you something. There was a whole lawsuit. The incognito does nothing. Google's still snatching up all that data. So if your porn history or other things is in the incognito, you're still up shit's creek. It's not real. It's a placebo. Look it up. Yeah, even if you turn it all off, Joe, the fact that you use your phone, okay, for anything at all, it tracks you, it listens. It's more than just our like personal assistants, right? Even though we tell Siri and all these other things, like now they just all lit up. I have 3 things that have that on there. You know, not to listen or whatever. They're always listening. They're always listening. They're always learning. They're always recording. Okay. We are in a Big Brother state already. Okay. Now, coupled with the fact that we have unelected, incel teens running rampant through our government, getting data that we are not consenting to give in that manner for where they're going to use it because it's already there, right? This is a whole other thing. This is we're touching the tip of the iceberg right now on what Doge's actual power and intent may be. Now, the fact that Elon is like invited to meetings and phone calls with Putin and other people is frightening because you have to remember he's a South African who emigrated here. He wants to be, I'm an immigrant, blah, 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 blah. He's a fucking South African. Is it jade or emerald mine? Empire. He's a son of an emerald miner. Okay, so his money and his fortune and his everything comes from literal child slave labor back in South Africa, mining for emeralds, which makes me so angry because that's my birthstone. Which he's then just playing, Prince of Persia around the United States. Like, oh, I feel like making a rocket. I feel like I'm going to buy that car company. He didn't invent Tesla, guys. He basically stole it from the 2 guys who did invent it. And then he, marketed it up and it's his company now. But he didn't invent Tesla. He's not a rocket scientist. He has rocket scientists at SpaceX. No, I don't hate South Africans. I love South Africans. I'm just saying, his heart may not be as American as he claims. That's just allegedly. But, that's how he grew up as, basically a prince because of child slave labor in South Africa. Let's tell the whole tale. In the same way that Donald Trump grew up at the feet of a slumlord, his father, in New York City. Okay? So these two are 2 peas in a pod. Like in terms of the racism, misogyny, all that other shit. Okay? But them getting access to this data isn't just like now, oh, all our information's out there. Your information is already out there. The second you signed up for anything, anywhere, ever, your information is out there. All of our information. Guys, everybody, please stop freaking out about your information because it's already out there. Okay? There's like the only people in the whole world who probably don't have their information out there are people who've never been on the internet ever. and have paid cash their whole life and have not gone into the modern medical system in any way, shape, or form. They're just healthy motherfuckers that, just eat apples all day or I don't know. Okay. So like literally, if you've engaged in commerce, you buy something at Target, you bought something off of Amazon, you went and purchased a car, you went and did, normal thing, all your information's out there. Okay. People can find everything. Now, that's not to invoke fear. It's just a fact of life. And you are correct, Verity. It's data farming. What they do with this data, and this is the other thing I tell my kids, because now that they're on social media, you'll remember back during 2015, 2014, we had the rise on Facebook of all these fun surveys, right? Remember all those fun surveys that were coming up? What color is your aura, right? Which Harry Potter house should you be in? What's your spirit animal? Like all these things. And you were answering all these questions, right? Every single one of those innocent, fun surveys that we all shared on Facebook and we were all clicking on it and like doing, that was a Russian psychological op run by Cambridge Analytica to examine the American psyche. And this step 2, after they figured out what we like, how we operate, they infiltrated social media with bots that started saying the things that we would react positively to and start turning our attention and tide and our belief system toward a programmed outcome. That is what Elon wants to do with that data. Is he either wants to recreate that experiment to turn the American psyche whichever way he wants, or he wants to sell it so that we keep being under Russian, China control, which we already are psychologically. Guys, people worry about World War III. It's already happening right here on our phones. Every single day, every single day. It's not a single shot has been fired onto American soil by Russia or China, but they already have full control of the American psyche. Okay, so like a week from Friday is the National Don't Buy Nothing Day, right? Just stay the fuck home. Don't do nothing. It will be interesting to see the MAGA reaction to that. Now, my guess is you're going to see people going to the Cracker Barrel, Chick-fil-A, Walmart, and other places that aren't necessarily MAGA affiliated, but like Best Buy, because the consumer, the conglomerates are going to be like, oh, no, not on my part. Not today. We can't have a no day of sales. Starbucks, can you imagine? Nobody gets Starbucks. Don't fucking go to that Starbucks. Don't go to Dutch Brothers. Don't even buy local. We're buying nothing. Let's just sit at home, read a book day. Okay? They are going to run so many sales. It is going to be insane. It is going to go right into our psyche. Like, buy one TV, get one free. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. Amazon's reaction is going to be pump up the sales. They're going to send ads everywhere. They're going to do it. Okay? But we have to resist that, right? It's a sustained resistance, like we talked about yesterday. Sustained resistance. But this is the scary part that people are just sweeping under the rug. Like, what is he going to do with the data? You have to think like a data scientist, okay? Now, it's complicated maths and other things, but the gist is your data, what you click on, what you like, what you heart, what you share, what you watch over and over and over again, tells those companies, don't give her this one, give her this one. And they keep pumping. I put a 1 in the chat if you've ever got into a scroll hole And a scroll hole, by a scroll hole, I mean, you're just like, all of a sudden, you're just like, oh, that's funny. And you're like sending things to people and you're just scrolling and you're seemingly having like a good time, right? And then all of a sudden you look up and it's been 2 fucking hours. Like, how the fuck was I scrolling for 2 hours? You literally have like a mini panic. How was I just doing that? It's because that they are that good. We are programmed now that our bodies just do these things automatically. Right? It's literally getting into our DNA. These things. It's changing the way we think. It's changing the way we communicate. Okay? And this has been a campaign that has been going on for 20 years. This is not something that just happened in 2015. Okay, this experiment, this psychological experiment on the American psyche has been happening since the invention of the internet and the cell phone. We have been a human guinea pig for 25 years now. And you can see how it's accelerating, right? AI is accelerating. I mean, I can talk to my phone and ask it to make a picture of whatever words I cobble together, and it'll do it. As if my imagination is coming to life. That's sorcery. But it's also another way to gather data about me, about my imagination, about what I think about, what I like, what I want to see. Right? And it will steer the things that come to me. So sorry for that was a long side rant, but like we have to understand this, guys. You have to understand that a lot of us right now are in fear for our physical safety, right? Like, are we safe in our home? Immigrants, especially, people of color, you know, and the Labiqua, you know, which I'm part of, right? Are we going to be safe? Are we going to be rounded up? Is my marriage going to stay legal? That's a lot of fear. So we don't want to feel fear as human beings. It's a hard emotion. It weighs you down. It turns on different chemicals in your body to make you hurt, to make your body fucking ugh. So what do? We want to feel better. We go to our phone. Oh, what can I? Ooh, TikTok. Ooh, Instagram. Oh, that's beautiful. I want to go there. And then you're in your imaginary world. And part of it is that because it lights up literally the imagination portion of your brain, you start participating in that experience and you are no longer here. Right? You are no longer here. So this is programming us to not to want to be here. To want to be, you know, a part of the matrix more than we are in reality. And it also keeps us further and further away from each other and less connected. Because the thing that the oligarchs, okay, that are trying to stage a coup in this country are the most afraid of is exactly what happened on Monday. Protests, people showing up in person, to see other human beings who also give a shit. Right? Because we've all become way too trusting of the internets in general. Right? We go into a Facebook group. We're talking to people. I like this person. They're fucking saying everything I like. Let's be besties. And you start talking to this person all the time. It's probably not a real person. It's probably a fucking person in, you know, Russia swinging your emotions. This is how incels are made. This is how jihadists are made. You know, you get in a scroll hole. Maybe you're just curious about guns. You're just starting to look at guns. And all of a sudden, all these other weirder videos come in and they're telling you about, you know, oh, your real rights as an American, sovereign citizen, you know, and like you start going down those holes and you're like, oh, these guys seem to know what they're talking about. I think I'm going to keep watching this. What else can I see? And it just gives you more. There's no end. There's no end to the internet. It doesn't end. It just keeps going. Okay, so the more that we actually connect in real life for our fellow human beings, That's how we defeat all this. That's how we defeat this. Okay? Yeah. Let's get back to Elon and this ridiculous article, and then we're going to go over the this interview. My God. Okay. Cutting government waste and hunting for fraud are perpetually popular topics for politicians across the political spectrum. Yep. Mm-hmm. Federal agencies each have their own internal watchdogs known as inspectors general, meant to hunt for misuse of taxpayer dollars. More than a dozen of them have been, "You're fired," by Trump. In their place, DOJ has worked to make sweeping cuts, most of which appear to be focused more on Trump's politics than anything else, and many of which experts warn could have unintended consequences. They're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, said Elaine Karnak, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institute who oversaw an 8-year effort to cut government spending and waste under Bill Clinton. Okay, these cuts are going to blow up in their face, she said, warning that fired staffers could undermine the United States' ability to handle a crisis in national security, food safety, pandemics, or aviation. While sweeping cuts in the private sector, and particularly Silicon Valley, may be celebrated, government services can be life and death. You take down Medicaid, you take down Medicare payment system, you take down Social Security checks, you take down food inspectors, that kills people. The White House did not respond to a request for comment. Of course they didn't. DOJ's cuts, as illustrated through the receipts posted online Monday, run the gamut across the U.S. government, albeit they appear to hew particularly to Trump's politics and also particularly to the agencies that were investigating Musk. Particularly opposition to diversity initiatives and media outlets. The more than 1,000 listed cuts represent a fraction of the $55 billion in savings DOJ says it has achieved in about a month of work, according to its website. The list includes a hodgepodge of canceled media subscriptions. Let's see here. Is that an actual link? No. Oh, there we go. Okay, we'll go over that in a minute. I'm going to put this in the chat so you guys can see it. The wall of receipts. My God. The wall of receipts. Well, let's go back. I see you guys talking about human beings or not. Let me go back to one thing that is very, very important for our human connection, because our human connection is paramount to life. Okay. When I first came out of the closet in 2016 and I wanted to begin my dating journey with women, I consulted a friend of mine who I jokingly but seriously refer to as my lesbian Yoda. And she said, you just have to meet people. Like, the trope that all lesbians know each other is true. Get on all the dating apps and say you want friendship. But before you meet up with anybody, ever, always do a FaceTime. Always FaceTime them so you know they are who they are. You're not getting like catfished by a fucking picture or something like that, right? And that's what happened with me and my wife. I mean, we met, we started talking, and it was all via text. And then one night I was like, hey, do you want to like FaceTime? And so we did. And, you know, I mean, that was it for me. I mean, I saw her face on a screen and I was madly in love. You know, and we talked. And so we got to engage in conversation, looking into each other's eyes and having that connection that you can have in writing, right? People are very convincing. Some people are excellent writers. I'm not knocking it. Poetry, all that shit is like fucking great, right? But we are so trusting now. It has become so normal, right? To just message people and talk to them and comment and get into a comment stream and do all these things with someone that you've never even seen their face. You guys can all see my face. This is not a faceless channel. This is me, right? And even this is weird because I can't see all of your faces while I'm talking to you. And that's okay, right? Because I know what this is. This is a show. I'm talking to the internet. You guys are going to tune in at totally different times. And thank you to the people on the replay crew. But it's not the same as sitting at a table with someone, breaking bread with them, you know, and making that eye contact, right? It's totally different. Like my mods and I had, you know, texted. We have a mod chat, right? But we did a call and we all talked and we all saw each other's reactions as we were talking. And it's wonderful because it builds that relationship to a different level. Do you know what I mean? But we have all decided that we can just text. Like, look at this kid. Look at our kids' generation. They don't fucking FaceTime each other. They don't even talk to each other on the phone. They would literally rather text or send a Snapchat or something than talk to another human being. Okay. So this is part of the programming. If you would have told me in high school, in 1994, when I graduated high school, that I would be talking into a fucking magic box to ask it questions and have the calculator that my teachers told me I would never have with me at all times. So take that. And you know, like have literal sorcery in my hand, I would have been like, I hadn't even seen that in a movie except for Star Trek, you know, and that was just little, you know, and they could talk to each other. It's like a fancy space walkie-talkie. Okay. But now because of that, we've put this between us. We've put this between us. And it's worked perfectly for the psychological experiment that is playing out right now. Because people are less likely to go, you know, and meet with people in person than they are to just hang in some chat room or something else. Okay, listen up, guys. Chimichanga breaking news. If they are like leaving out chimichangas of the past, how much more can they cut away from us? Do you know what I mean? No, it did not, Rachel. Just now? What the actual... Okay, I'll pull that up in a minute. That's breaking news. Holy shit. All right, let's finish this article, guys. I'm sorry. I got off on a... Hello, Selma. Do the Star Trek noise again. Stop it, Miralee. I got to focus. Focus, Nora, focus. All right. The list includes a hodgepodge of canceled media subscriptions, contracts, and leases, and quite a few noticeable errors. One item in Doge's receipts claimed $8 billion savings found in Department of Homeland Security contract when the contract was for $8 million. The receipts seem to undermine Doge's own rhetoric, too. One of Doge wins from earlier in the month, a $57,000 contract in Sri Lanka, focused on climate change mitigation that Doge canceled. Saves taxpayers nothing. Good job. Fuck Sri Lanka, right? Like, who cares? The bulk of the savings listed in the receipts was due to the closure of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, which is embroiled in litigation over the legality of its closure. USAID accounted for about 1.2% of the overall U.S. budget. And now people don't have food. They don't have medicine. They don't have health care worldwide for 1.2%. It's an open question whether or not it's legal to make some of these actions, said Josh Sewell, Director of Research and Policy at Taxpayers for Common Sense. Musk has acknowledged that his team will make mistakes and then correct them. Because, you know, when you're just slashing away money from the people that we fucking gave our tax money for, it's okay. Oops-a-doodles. My bad. My bad. Nobody's going to bat 1,000 He said during a White House news conference this month, this is while his son was on his shoulders, stretching his face out. Yeah. We will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. But his false claims have gotten enormous attention. A study from media watchdog NewsGuard published Tuesday found that 28 false claims accrued more than 825 million views in recent days. See, this is the part of the psychological warfare. Okay? Because the MAGA people will 825 million times view incorrect, wrong information and take it as fact and ignore the correction when it happens. This is the psychological warfare. Ready? The White House announced Monday that DOGE would tackle Social Security fraud. Shortly after, Musk posted a spreadsheet with the ages of the people in Social Security database, with millions of them over 100. I would like all the centennials to stand up and be counted. I don't know that we have that many people that are fucking over, not just 100, but over 100. Where is Willard Scott when we need him? Good night. There are far more eligible Social Security numbers than there are citizens in the USA. This might be the biggest fraud in history. So he's saying that the number of people that are eligible for Social Security exceeds the population of the United States. It's not. It's not. This is a known problem with government data. Now, here's the big problem, right? It's not just an Elon problem. The problem is our government is still in the motherfucking, Telegram era. And we're in the iPhone era. Okay? There's a bunch of outdated, duplicate, fucking wrong shit in there. Okay? And that's on the government. They haven't cared to fucking cull their data and fix it. Right? So now Elon's look at this mess. Look at this mess I found and I'm fixing it. Like, no, you're not. You're taking it over and you're going to fuck it. You're not going to fix it. You're going to fuck it. According to the president, we have 2 people over 200 years old. I'd like to pick their brain. I would really like some information about the 1800s. Absolutely. It's a known, there are millions of people over the age of 100 in the Social Security Administration's database, but the vast majority are not receiving benefits. The issue has been repeatedly identified by inspectors at the agency, but the Social Security Administration has argued that updating old records is costly and unnecessary. We like the system the way it is. A beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. Thank you. Thank you to my mod chat. I'm going to pull up that article in a minute. Per the agency's online records, just 89,106 people, not tens of millions, over the age of 99 received retirement benefits in December 2024. That seems more accurate. Out of the more than 70 million, what's that percentage? I got to ask my phone. I'm going to ask my pony. What percentage of 70 million is 89,106?
9,106 divided by 70 million is approximately 0.1273%.
It's not even 1%. It's not even round up to 1%. It's 0.1%. It's 0.1%. But yet, the MAGA tagline, okay, the MAGA tagline is that, Social Security is being ripped off by fraud by all these people somehow pretending to be 150. It's a humiliating mistake for anyone to make, but they're doubling and tripling down on it, said Kathleen Romy, Director of Social Security and Disability Policy at the Center of Budget and Policy Priorities, a left-leaning think tank that addresses government spending. That is scary because they also have the keys to the kingdom with all access to this data. Concerns about access led the top acting executives at the Social Security Administration, Michelle King, to leave her job. She just quit after refusing to give DOGE access to the agency's sensitive data about Americans who receive Social Security. She quit in protest. If they act upon these falsehoods, that's really scary. The Social Security Administration is careful about marking individuals as dead because the act triggers, as we went over the other day, guys, look, it's like I say facts, triggers a chain of events that can cut people off, not just government benefits, but their own bank accounts. It erases you as a human being on planet Earth. This is his dark Doge, his dark MAGA hat. She also warned that firing new employees, the probationary period employees DOGE has targeted at the Social Security Administration, undermines the future of the agency and makes it harder to sort out payment errors. The biggest threat to Social Security is not these falsehoods. The biggest threat to Social Security is that they are going to crater the agency by driving 10,000 people out of it. And while experts disagree on the cuts, many agree DOGE has drawn the public spending into open debate. People may argue with some of the details, but taking this kind of action and doing it quickly and doing it in a way that is bringing attention to how the government operates is helpful. But fundamentally, COO warned DOGE won't reap the desired deficit reductions needed unless it changes course. It's mathematically impossible to achieve the kind of trillion-dollar savings Musk has promised without cutting defense spending and entitlements. The gravity of our debt, which is 32 pushing 33 trillion. It's not even a real number, guys. Trillion doesn't even exist. It's not real. And our annual spending, which is around 6 trillion, is so big and so hard to comprehend that you have to have all hands on deck. You have to look everywhere. If a political actor only finds savings in their opponent's backyard, that's not a recipe for success. Yeah, but let's go back up to this thing here. Okay. People may argue. The biggest threat to Social Security is not these falsehoods. The biggest threat to Social Security is that they are going to crater. Okay. Make it a crater. It is now imploded. The agency by driving 10,000 people out of it. You guys have to realize what that means. Once they dismantle it and enough people like Michelle leave or are driven from it because they're in probationary, like in the government, you have 2 years of probation. So it's a long probationary period. It's not like when you're working at McDonald's, you got 3 months, 6 months, right? 2 years before you're considered like a full employee, right? So if they've now systematically unhired, okay, let go every single new hire that was going to replace the retirees in these government positions. Okay, you have to think of this, from the top down. They want to get rid of all these, lifelong government employees. So the first thing they do is they fire their replacements. The second thing they do is they force all of the elder senior officials and things. Well, the first thing they did was get rid of the inspector general so they could do whatever the fuck they want. Then they get rid of the new guys who would ask too many questions and might not give in. And now they're going to start targeting the old guard. They're going to start putting people in retirement, the people that have been the glue of these organizations because they're not modernized. They aren't fucking efficient. There's like 10 people who can probably make sure that all the Social Security checks in the whole fucking country go out because they've been doing it for 50 years. Those will be the next people to go. So if people are freaking out about, oh no, they're going to cut it. They're not going to cut it. Okay? Don't get it twisted, guys. Don't get it twisted. It will be gone. Just like, they're not being direct like about the Department of Education where they're like, we're just canceling that. No one needs that department. We just have schools of choice. Yeah, done. They're going to systematically, piece by piece, get rid of it. Let me pull up this link here.
This is Marana, Arizona.
I'm going to go to this live coverage here of the plane crash that just happened, just so you guys get this breaking news here.
This is Marana, Arizona. It's just outside of Tucson. We've now learned 2 people were killed in this midair collision involving 2 small planes. The National Transportation Safety Board said it is investigating the crash. Again, this is at a small airport on the outskirts of Tucson. You'll know there have been 4 major aviation disasters in North America in just the last month. But again, these are 2 small planes that have crashed and 2 people have died.
So that looks like probably 2, Pipers or Cessna type airplanes that can be, piloted by one person. And it's at a very small airport out there. This is just another, I've never, guys, I'm 48 years old. I'm turning 49 in May. I have never in my life seen this many incidents with planes of multiple sizes in my life concurrently. Yeah, 4 crashes in 4 weeks. Yeah. This is unheard of. But again, you can't blame all of this on the FAA, right? However, if you don't have enough tower people, if you don't have enough, people to do the jobs, we're going to keep seeing this. Our literal safety everywhere is at risk, y'all, because they've gotten rid of the regulators, right? They want less government, small government. We don't want all these regulations, right? This is how people die. This is how foodborne illnesses start and get out of control. This is how our water systems get contaminated. This is how our, everything comes to a screeching halt. Okay, it's worse than Gilead, right? The Handmaid's Tale. Like, yes, I'm focused on women's rights. Obviously, I'm a woman. I'm focused on Labiqua rights. I'm part of Labiqua, okay? But it's bigger than just that. We're talking about human beings in America being able to feel safe to open up their refrigerator and eat that fucking cheese they just bought. Is it safe? Has it been pasteurized? What's wrong with it? Can I eat the chicken I just bought? Is that okay? Should I watch Pioneer Woman all day on repeat and learn how to can shit? I mean, this is the shit that is crazy. Oh, that doesn't have any towers, Christine? Okay. Yeah, I saw that flipped over plane in Toronto. It was so fucking icy. It did, a whole plane flipped over. Honey, you nailed it. They're making it easier for terrorists to fly through because we don't have enough people in the post for this not to happen. Yeah. If we keep cutting back and keep cutting back, there's less control. There's less people that know what's happening and can jump on it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But again, where are people's attention at? Where is the youth attention at? Boop, boop, boop. Okay. So Google says there aren't any more plane crashes than normal. Again, misinformation, disinformation. I'm pretty sure in America, now statistically, are there this many plane crashes in that amount of time worldwide? Maybe. But I don't think in America there's ever been this many plane crashes in this small amount of time. That doesn't make no sense. I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna Google it. What's the question you even asked Google? Are we having? Let's just see. Let's just ask it conversationally here. Are we having more plane crashes? Oh my God, Nora. Type. Yeah, conversationally. No, you don't need my location, Google, to answer that question. CNN, Newsweek. Okay, so let's look at this first. How many planes crashed in the unit in 2024? 123 aviation accidents of various severity. But the number of fatalities was fewer than in 2025, with 42 reported. So that's why it feels kind of like a bigger deal. Okay? You know, planes have all kinds of shit that goes wrong. But we have 42 fatalities already this year. That's a lot of fucking people dead. You know? There were 257 fatal accidents globally. So there was less in 2024 than in 2014. Blah, 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 blah. How many airplane crashes so far? 13. Where at least one person died this year. 13. In 2025. That's just insane. Insanity. All right. Good grief. All right. Let's get out of this article. Let's go to this interview here. Are you guys ready for this? Are you ready? I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. This is the Fox interview. Let me put up my copyright here. I just want you guys to watch. We're going to watch, right? We listen and we don't judge. No, I'm totally judging through this whole thing. Okay. Here we go.
He's kind of put a lot of his life on hold. And you sued Twitter a number of years ago. You just made him pay you $10 million?
That's right. That's right.
That's
well,
right.
I sued from long before he had it.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Did you see Elon's face? He's like, wait, I paid you $10 million?
they really did a number on me, you know, and I sued and they had to pay, they paid $10 million settlement.
You're okay with that?
I mean, I left it up to the lawyers and you know, the team running Twitter. So I said, you guys do what you think is the right, it makes sense.
I think.
Do you think that Elon, you know that if it were anyone else, Elon would have never given up that $10 million. But what did that $10 million settlement get him? The seat he's sitting in right now. That's all it cost him. Was his Donald Trump's account restored, his blue check mark back, and $10 million.
It's funny.
I think it's a very low. I was looking to get much more money than that.
So you gave him a discount when the lawsuit.
He got a big discount. I don't think he even knows about it.
He's become one of your, if you read and believe the media, he's become one of your best friends. He's working for free for you.
Well, I love the president. I just want to be clear about that.
You don't care about that?
I know, I love the president.
You love the president.
I don't care about that.
I think President Trump is a good man, and he's, you know.
That's the way he said that, you know, there's something nice about it.
It really is. You know, because, I mean, the president's been so unfairly attacked in the media. It's really outrageous.
What? I feel like there's something wrong with Elon's mouth. Like, he used to be a chubby, balding guy, and then he got like a hair transplant and, you know, did the, you know, the injections, you know, Ozempic shit. And now he can't, he's like, his face, I don't know if it's Botox or what.
And I've at this point spent a lot of time with the president, and
like this lower lip talking thing. He didn't used to talk like that.
not once have I seen him do something that was mean or cruel or wrong.
Not once have I seen him do something that is mean or cruel or wrong.
Not once.
You know, I've known him for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anybody take as much as he's taken.
Yeah.
And we've discussed this, and I'm like, how do you deal with it?
Did I have a choice?
Well, you would say that to me. I'm like, what am I going to do? Worry about it? And, you know, and then culminating in 2 assassination attempts, which resulted in your endorsement.
Well, I was going to do it anyway, but that was
it.
precipitating event. Yeah.
That's really.
Yeah, I mean, I was totally gonna endorse, but after, you know, he got shot at a couple times, then I was like, yeah, bro, I'm in.
A little bit?
Yeah.
The day of the
I
assassination.
didn't know that.
Yeah. I just sped it up, but I was going to do it anyway.
Mr. President, with your indulgence, I'm convinced that people only know a little bit about Elon. I don't think they know everything about Elon, because as I studied and prepared for this interview, I learned a lot about you that I didn't know. I think people will think about Tesla. Democrats are demonizing you and trying to make the country hate you.
Oh no. Oh no, don't hate Elon.
I just want people to understand you a little bit better, and the person that you've gotten to know and have now put a lot of trust in.
Sure.
And, you know, just let's go over a little bit of your bio, starting with PayPal and how you became involved in Tesla. And
Okay, so listen up, guys. Listen to how little baby Elon, with his emerald mine inheritance, slowly started taking over and became a tech oligarch.
SpaceX and Neuralink and all
Take
these.
a while. I mean, you know, I think the way to think of me is like I'm a technologist, and I try to make technologies that improve the world and make life
show
better.
your shirt.
Yeah, and that's why I like my t-shirts at tech support, because I'm here to provide the president with technology.
Because I'm a trillionaire and I wear a t-shirt with a jacket that says tech support. I don't know what that little square, oh, that's his pendant.
Technology support. And now that may seem like, well, is that a silly thing? But actually, it's a very important thing, because the president will make these executive orders, which are very sensible and good for the country, but then they don't get implemented. You know, so if you take, for example, all the funding for the migrant hotels, the president issued an executive order. Hey, we need to stop taking taxpayer money and paying for luxury hotels for illegal immigrants, which makes no sense. Like, so obviously, people do not want their tax dollars going to fund high-end hotels for illegals, and yet they were still doing that, even as late as last week. And so, you know, we went in there and we're like, this is in violation of the presidential executive order. It needs to stop. So.
What? What?
So what we're doing here is one of the biggest functions of the Doge team is just making sure that the presidential executive orders are actually carried out.
Okay, so that's a key thing to think about, because the Department of Governmental Efficiency, that's not what was in the description. Basically, what Elon just said right there is that him and his little team are the president's personal henchmen to make sure that his executive orders are carried out. That's how, guys, go back, please, 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 and study the rise of the tiny mustache man in Austria and Germany in the 1930s and 40s. This is, no, like, here's the deal. I have a kid on the spectrum. I'm not blaming autism for Elon's, oligarchy bullshit. No, we're not. And even if he is on the spectrum, he doesn't get no pass for being evil. I'm going to slow it down because I heard some of you guys say you can't understand. So we'll go down to 1.25.
And this is, I just want to point out, this is a very important thing, because the president is the elected representative of the people. So he's representing the will of the people.
No, he's not. He's definitely not representing my will.
And if the bureaucracy is fighting the will of the people and preventing the president from implementing what the people want, then what we live in is a bureaucracy and not a democracy.
Okay, so this is the thing that Elon has been repeating over and over and over and over and over again. That if you have bureaucrats who are enforcing the rules that are based on the Constitution that we, abide by, that we pledge to, that we agree on, then we are not in a democracy anymore. We are now in a bureaucracy, which is not correct. A bureaucracy is the tool that our democracy uses to keep the democracy going. Okay? So that's like saying that if we're liking this to a car analogy, okay? That's like saying that if you take the transmission out of a car, you just throw that away because it's just taking up too much space in the undercarriage and in the engine area, that you're just going to go with the one gear and just keep pushing the pedal, it's going to go faster. But then the engine's going to blow up and your car's going to break and you don't got no more car. But it's still a car. The bureaucracy part of it, should it be fixed? Is it great? No. Has it been kind of fucking shit up and lots of, fucking problem? Absolutely. But you still got to have it. You can't drive a car without a transmission. It's not going to, Trump's just sitting there. Look at Trump's body language here. Okay? He's slumped over. His hands are pointed downward. He's looking away from Brett. He's not even looking at the interviewer because the interviewer is not talking to him. He's talking to the shadow president, Elon Musk. Okay?
No. You're both aware, you have to be keenly aware that the media...
Oh, now Trump, no, see how he adjusts himself a little bit? Because now Brett's looking at him, so now he might say a word. Watch.
And the punditry class, not that, I think you've proven they have no power anymore because they threw everything they had at you and they didn't win. And that was, the New York Times, Washington Post, 3 networks, every late night comedy show, 2 cable channels. They threw everything, lawfare, weaponization.
Sure.
And
look at him. He's like half asleep. Have they switched his Adderall for Xanax? What is happening? He's literally does not care.
now I see they want you two to start, they want a divorce. They want you two to start hating each other. And they try, President Elon Musk, for example.
See, watch Trump's body language now when he's going to explain this. And look at Elon, trying not to laugh.
You do know that they're doing that to you.
Oh, I see it all the time. They tried it, then they stopped. That wasn't. They have many different things of hatred. Actually, Elon called me. He said, they're trying to drive us apart. I said, absolutely. They said, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And
now look at this body language here. Trump is actually agitated. This was upsetting to him, this joke. And Elon's like, ha, it's so true.
I say, it's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it, because if they were good at it, I'd never be president. Because I think nobody...
See, if people were good at getting truth out, he just admitted he wouldn't be president. And this goes back to our connection. This goes back to our willingness to talk to each other, to get our faces out of technology.
in history has ever gotten more bad publicity than me. I could do the greatest things.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that have gotten a lot more bad publicity than you, because you're not the most important person that's ever lived, ever. Contrary to your belief about yourself.
I get 98% bad publicity. I could do, outside of you and a few of your very good friends, it's like the craziest thing. But you know what I have learned, Elon? The people are smart. They get it.
See, whenever he's lying, he puts his head down like this. And he does like the triple chin. They get it. And his voice changes and he does the Trump. He's going to start doing the Trump accordion thing. This is where he knows he's manipulating his cult base. He has to keep reminding them how smart they are, right? How good they are, how right they are. And then they go, thank you, Daddy. Thank you. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Because if you don't tell your culties how beautiful and smart and perfect they are, they will start to listen to other people, right?
Yeah, they do,
They
actually.
get it. They really see what's happening.
Yes.
And at the end of this interview, what I would like is I want people to know the relationship and know more about you. What is the relationship, Mr. President?
Well, I respect him. I've always respected him. I never knew.
He did. I'm pretty sure we have some tweets where he says some not kind things about Elon.
That he was right on certain things, and I'm usually pretty good at this stuff. He did Starlink. He did
Starlink. He did Starlink.
things that were so advanced and nobody knew what the hell they were.
It's a low Earth network of satellites that aid communication in areas where cell towers don't exist. It's really not that complicated. It's satellites. Also very scary, also very helpful. But very scary that one human being has control over whether certain countries have internet or not instantaneously. Like when he was just asked a favor by Putin, like, hey, could you just shut off Ukraine for like 48 hours? Do me a favor, you know, they're kind of being pissy. And Elon was like, sure, fuck Ukraine for 48 hours. No internets for you. No one singular human should have that power. No one singular human should have that power.
I can tell you in North Carolina, they had no communication. They were wiped out. Those people were, you know, they had rivers in between. Land that never saw water, all of a sudden it was a river and a...
Well, actually, it had seen water. And because humans have no respect for nature, we do whatever the fuck we want. And we build on old riverbeds because it hasn't seen water, so it's going to be fine. And then we don't, you know, we're shocked when nature's like, oh, go fuck yourself.
Vicious, like rapids. People were dying all over. They had no communication. They said, you know Elon Musk? They didn't really know I knew him. I said, yeah. He said, could you get Starlink? It's like the first time I ever heard of it. I said, what's Starlink? A communication system. That's unbelievable.
I have it.
Yeah. And he said, I called him and I said, listen, they really need it. And he got like thousands of units of this communication.
It's called satellites, sir. They're in the sky. Those rockets that go up, they carry them as a payload and then they leave them there floating in space. This is why this man should not be president. They're units of communication. What? Hello? Hello?
And it saved a lot of lives. He got it immediately, and you can't get it. I mean, you have to wait a long time to get it.
No, actually, you don't. You can go to the Starlink website right now and buy a module. You'll get it within 48 hours.
But he got it to him immediately, and I said, that's pretty amazing, and I didn't even know he had it. We watched the rocket ships, and we watched tests.
I went and I saw a rocket, guys. I saw a rocket.
I think, you know, something that had an effect on me was when I saw the rocket ship come back and get grabbed, like you grab a beautiful little baby. You grab your baby.
You just grab a baby. Grab a baby. Grabbed it. Grab a baby. Do we all grab babies? I'm going to grab a baby.
Just
hug the rocket.
I've never seen
everyone needs hug, including rockets.
No, but and he said, you know, you can't really have a rocket program if you're going to dump $1 billion into the ocean every time you fly. You have to save it. Right. And he saved it. First time that I've ever seen that done.
He's been doing that for several years. It's a patented procedure that SpaceX did come up with, which is fantastic. Have you been in a coma, sir? Are you an android? I have so many questions. So many questions.
Now, nobody else can do it. If you look at the U.S., Russia, or China, they can't do it, and they won't be able to do it for a long time. He has the technology. So,
yeah.
You learn, I wanted somebody really smart.
Starlink also wasn't his original idea. Okay. A lot of people forget that back in 1997, there were billboards all over Los Angeles and the country. Guess who was going to be the first person to launch satellite connectivity across the world? Any guesses? Any guesses? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? The answer is Bill Gates. Microsoft had originally proposed this, and the US government was like, no, you can't just put your satellites up in the air and then charge people for that. You can't do that. You can't say slap? Says who? Is that new rule? Merely, are you serious right now? I'm going to get like a violation if I say SLAP? Like that slaps? No, it was not Verizon. It was Bill Gates. Microsoft. Microsoft. Yep, you got it, Mandy. That's a deep tech. That's a deep nerd tech dive, guys. That is a deep, deep nerd tech dive. Billy Gates. Yep. And then, you know, Elon actualized it. Christine.
To work with me in terms of the country, a very important aspect. Because, I mean, he doesn't talk about it. He's actually a very good businessman. And when he talks about
Elon doesn't talk about his business, guys, like never. He never brags about that all over his own very own social media platform that he commandeered.
About the executive orders, and this is probably true for all presidents. Yeah. You write an executive order and you think it's done. You send it out. It doesn't get done. It doesn't get implemented. They don't implement it. Maybe they're from the last administration, and they are in some cases. You try and get them out as fast as you can.
Now look at how Elon's looking at him, making sure that he's staying on script.
But I could, as soon as he said that, I said, you know, that's interesting. You write a beautiful executive, and you sign it, and you assume it's.
Did you write any of those, Donnie? I would bet every item on my desk here that Donald Trump did no work in writing any of those executive orders.
It's going to be done, but it's not. What he does is he takes it, and with his 100 geniuses, he's got some very...
He's got 100 geniuses, guys. He just went into Mensa and just took people.
Brilliant young people working for him that dress much worse than him, actually. They dress in just T-shirts. You wouldn't know they have 180 IQ.
Wait a minute. So he's your tech support.
No, he is. But he's much more than that.
I actually am tech support, though. But
he gets it done. He's a leader.
I am tech support. Elon, the only person you're supporting technologically is yourself. SpaceX, you didn't design those rockets. You're not the one that made that propulsion system and the reclaiming of rockets possible. Now, you may have said the idea out loud, which is a great idea, like, let's fucking reuse these rockets. But you didn't do the math. You didn't engineer the fuck out of those engines to make that possible. You're just the guy who collects the biggest paycheck there. Let's get it straight.
Yeah. He really is. He gets it done. You get a lot of tech people, and you have people that go to tech, but he gets it done. You know, I said in real estate, you had guys that would draw beautiful renderings of a building, and they'd draw the rendering, and it would be great, and you say, great, when are you starting? But they were never able to get it built. They couldn't get the financing. They couldn't get the approvals. It would never get done. And then you have other guys that are able to get it done. You know, they could just get it done. I was in real estate.
And also, Jeff Bezos's, what was his called? Blue something, has the same exact technology where it goes up and then it comes right back down. But it's basically a very expensive, carnival ride, what Jeff Bezos did, right? And they have the little observation room because it doesn't come apart. It doesn't, and then bajillionaires can go up and go into, low Earth orbit. They don't even go into orbit, actually. They just go into that above the stratosphere. They float for a couple minutes and then they come back down. They didn't actually figure out anything else. Blue Origin, thank you. Yeah.
Same thing in this. He gets it done. So when he said that, he said, when you sign these executive orders, a lot of them don't get done, and maybe the most important ones. And he would take that executive order that I'd sign, and he would have those people go to whatever agency it was. When are you doing it? Get it done, get it done. And some guy...
See? Literally a henchman. He's the enforcer. Trump is the mafia boss, and Elon and his gang of incel misfits are the gang. They're the henchmen. They're the guys collecting the lunch money and the protection money and shit from the bodegas.
That maybe didn't want to do it. All of a sudden, he's signing. He just doesn't want to be bothered.
Do a lot of those executive orders have to be codified into law? You need the Republican Congress
and
to
they
follow
will be.
up.
A lot of them will be. Yeah.
Yes, they do. The answer to that question, Trump, is yes.
But look, in the meantime, we have 4 years. The beauty is we have 4 years. That's why.
So we can do whatever we want for 4 years. I wrote it down. I said it's the thing. And, you know, Congress can pussyfoot around and do whatever they want. We're doing it. And that's the real loophole, guys. He's not lying there. The ACLU and other law enforcement agencies are really, really working hard to bring lawsuits to stop these things, to, you know, reverse uno these things, right? But literally, Congress can just stall, do whatever the fuck, you know. We got 4 years to tear it all down.
Why I like doing it right at the beginning, because an executive order is great. I mean, the one problem is both good and bad. Because when they did all these executive orders, I've canceled most of them. They were terrible. I mean, we're going to go radical left.
Yeah, he canceled, what was it? Over 50 executive orders that Biden had issued, like within minutes of being sworn in.
Communist, okay, it was crazy. Their
Really crazy.
executive orders were so bad. If they ever got them codified, you'd never be able to break them. So,
Yeah, because they would have like protected people and stuff.
damage that Biden has done to this country, and it's not even Biden, it's the people that circled him in the Oval Office, okay? But the damage they did to this country, in terms of, let's say, open borders, you know, there's so many things, but open borders.
How are our borders open? Has anybody tried to drive to Canada lately from any point in America or go into Mexico on the actual freeway, like the way that you do? That's not open. It's not like the guys at the booths are just like, you know what, fuck it. Green lights. Like it's not that.
Where millions of people poured into our country, and hundreds of thousands of those people are criminals. They're murderers, they're drug dealers, they're gang members, they're people from prisons from all over the world. And we have a great guy, Tom Homan, and he is doing so incredibly. You saw the numbers, they're down like 90.
How about all the children? The babies, the little babies. Are they gang members, murderers, drug dealers? How about the pregnant women? Are they that too?
96%.
95%.
He is a phenomenal guy. And Kristi Noem is doing an unbelievable job. And he wanted her. He said, she's so tough. And I said, I don't think of her as that way. You know, she's very nice. He said, no, she's so tough. And she is. I see with the horses. She's riding the horse.
She's riding the horse.
Let's go. She's great. But the team we have is really unbelievable. But those executive orders, I sign them. And now they get passed on to him and his group and other people.
Why are they passed on to unelected, unconfirmed, unvetted individuals for any purpose? They should have absolutely no power. But he just revealed how it goes. He signs it with his, serial killer Sharpie, and then he hands it over to the shadow president, the Sith Lord, known as Elon Musk. Oh, I'm sure you do, Jennifer. You're going to have a lot of people, doing the old 90s Taco Bell slogan, run for the border, but we're not going to Mexico. We're coming to Canada. That's that. If y'all aren't ready for it, get ready. Get ready.
And they're all getting done. We're getting them done.
Let me go back a little bit to your background, because it's beyond impressive. You were the chief engineer, for example. You were an early believer in Tesla. You became the CEO.
Yeah. Here we go.
And then the chief engineer, which was phenomenal. SpaceX, same thing, which is unbelievable. I mean, you were the first private company to send astronauts successfully into space.
That's a fact. It is the first private company to successfully send astronauts into space. That is a big thing.
first private company to send astronauts into orbit.
Yeah.
That's pretty deep.
He's going to go into orbit soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, he's going to go to Mars. He's gonna fly on his-
At some point. Yeah.
Is it in
I mean, they
Oklahoma?
was asking, like, do you want to die on Mars? And I say, well, yes, but not on impact.
Starlink is in 100 countries.
Ah! Trump just thinks that's like the most hilarious thing he's ever heard.
This is going to be hard. I feel like I'm interviewing two brothers here.
You go ahead.
Star Shield, which
This should never be happening. You don't have your bestie be your enforcer.
should be used for national defense.
Yeah, it is already being used for national defense.
Star Shield. What is Star Shield, guys?
Then you have
Let's look at that because I don't know what Star. Does anybody here know what Star Shield is? I don't know. That's already being used for national defense. Say what? What is Star Shield? It is a classified safe satellite communication system developed by SpaceX for the U.S. military. It uses low Earth orbit satellites to provide military space capabilities. Starshield is a militarized version of SpaceX's Starlink internet satellites. It has enhanced encryption and other security features. It is used for target tracking, optical and radio reconnaissance, and early missile warning. It is used for basic services such as email, telephone, and data transmission. Okay, so it's being used by Space Force, the Space Development Agency, National Reconnaissance Office, the 2nd Marine Division. Okay. Some Earth observation companies are wary. Yeah. Experts debate whether it's even technically legal to intermingle civilian and military assets in space. What in the actual fuck? $70 million. Starshield will offer secure communications. Each secure SpaceX Starshield terminal, $1,000 to $5,000 per month. So that's the receptacle where you can get the information that the satellite is putting out. It's like, remember, if you've ever had like Dish TV or Direct TV, right? Those are two satellite TV providers. You had to pay like a rent on your receiver, on your DVR, right? So that's the rent that you're going to pay for the machine that translates the data from space from those specific satellites. This is a cash cow. He just did the DirecTV fucking model and weaponized it. My question is, are these armed? Have we got space lasers up there? Are we talking about a real genius situation? This is like, I had no idea that was there. Did anyone else? Did we know that we had militaristic low Earth orbit satellites just at the command of Elon Musk? Because he hasn't given over the source code. He hasn't given over full autonomy to the U.S. government. At one point, he can do whatever he wants with those. Who's actually in control? That's why he's tech support, guys. Because he's always in control. What is every company at the mercy of right now? Their technology. You can shut down a company with one computer virus. Boop. They can't accept any payments. Boop. All their terminals are done. Boop. They're being held hostage, ransomware. Boop. When he says he's tech support and it's like supposed to mean like he's a dork, he's a nerd, no. He's the one in charge. He's the captain now. He is the captain. I did not. That's breaking news for me, guys. Now, if you guys are 80s babies like me, you'll remember that this concept is not new. We had Star Wars. Remember when Ronnie Reagan told us Star Wars was going to happen? Let's just look that up here. Ronald Reagan Star Wars. If they should bar wars, please let these Star Wars stay. Sorry, that's an old Saturday Night Live skit. Bill Murray. Okay, here we go. Let's go back in time, kids.
On March 23, 1983, in a televised address to the nation, President Ronald Reagan announced his intention to embark on groundbreaking research into a national...
See? Look at this. This is the model of what Star Wars was going to look like. 1983.
...defense system that could make nuclear weapons obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
It was called the Strategic Defense Initiative. The heart of the program was a plan...
Look at this. This is the actual animation from back then.
...and to develop a...
See? Look at this. It's like a little spaceship. It's a what? It's a satellite.
...space-based missile defense program that could protect the country from a large-scale nuclear attack. 41 years ago this week, while delivering an address to the nation on defense and national security, President Reagan said,
I'm taking an important first step. I am directing a comprehensive and intensive effort to define a long-term research and development program to begin to achieve our ultimate goal of eliminating the threat posed by strategic nuclear missiles. This could pave the way for arms control measures to eliminate the weapons themselves.
He really believed this shit. He thought we're going to put this big motherfucking thing up here that's going to be able to detect an early launch and then fucking boop it out of the sky. Fuck you. We're watching you always.
We seek neither military superiority nor political advantage. Our only purpose, one all people share, is to search for ways to reduce the danger of nuclear war.
Yeah. For those of you who are too young to remember all these things, I was 7. I believed 1,000,000% that we were probably all going to die in a hellfire of nuclear war, just like the Terminator, just like fucking War Games, because that's what we were told. Gorby and the Russians were parading their fucking nukes around, and we were all going to die very, very soon. And so, yeah, Star Wars, let's do it. And also, what was the biggest movie on planet Earth 8 years before that? Star Wars. Yeah. It's all about propaganda, guys.
What is it called? Optimus, a part of Tesla.
The robot, yeah.
A robotic arm. Then you have an AI arm. And then you have...
Okay. We're still listing the assets here of Elon. So we just learned about Starshield. Now we've got AI robotics.
something that really fascinated me, and it's called Neuralink.
Yes.
This is the thing where we get directly plugged into the matrix.
You might help the blind to see,
yes,
and people with spinal cord injuries, that they can recover, where in the past, how close is that to becoming a success?
Now that's the pitch. Okay, that is the pamphlet. Okay, you get this fucking shit implanted in your brain, right? And then voila, magique. Now you can be a whole human again.
Neuralink, we've implanted Neuralink in 3 patients so far who are quadriplegics, and it allows them to directly control their phone and computer just using their mind, just by thinking.
So it doesn't give them use of their limbs, which is what you originally said. Like the paralyzed will walk again. They are now part of the computer. That's not that you made them a cyborg.
Thinking. It's like, so we call this product telepathy. So you control your computer and phone just by thinking, and it's possible to actually control the computer and phone faster than someone who has working hands.
Yeah, because our synapses move, you know, a thought, the energy in our brain moves at the speed of light. Of course it's easier. But that's not what you said Neuralink was going to do. You said Neuralink would restore people's sight, that they paralyzed people would walk. Now, the fact that a quadriplegic who cannot communicate verbally can then communicate. Also, Stephen Hawking already had that. It's not fucking new.
Then the next step would be to add a second Neuralink implant past the point where the neuron's damaged, so that somebody can walk again, and so they can have full body functionality restored.
Yeah, you haven't even. That's not even. Where have you tried that? Where is the trial data that shows that any of that is actually possible? If I broke my neck, where do you implant the second one? I can't move my fucking arms and legs and my torso. Where the fuck does the second implant go?
And
you like Bobby, right?
I like Bobby, actually, yeah.
Oh, now we got to now we got to throw RFK out there. Don't forget about RFK, guys. We like him.
I think I supported Bobby Kennedy. I think he.
Why? This is so off topic, guys. Why are we bringing up Bobby Kennedy right now? Why is RFK Jr. in this convo?
He's unfairly maligned as someone who is anti-science, but I think he isn't. He just wants to question the science, which is the essence of the science. The scientific method fundamentally is about always questioning the science.
There's a difference between questioning science and saying it's bunk. Okay, scientists question things all the time. They do experiments. The experiment produces a result or not, and then they keep experimenting, right? Based on the results. Just walking into a science lab going, this is murdering children's brain cells and turning them trans. That's not questioning science. That's destroying science.
They didn't tell us the truth about COVID,
Correct.
That's for sure.
Yes.
And we learned a lot with the Twitter files. And that just then raises a question. You're the richest man in the world.
Yeah, we learned a lot from the Twitter files. Now we're going to get into it. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. Let that sink in.
You may not like that part. Yeah. You're pretty competitive.
Look at Trump, like,
Neither here nor there.
I've known you a long time. But,
That's why
but he's on your team.
President.
Well, that's true. He can't talk
that's why I became president, because he can't do that.
that.
He's good. I wanted to find somebody smarter than him. I searched all over. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
You really tried hard.
I couldn't find anyone smarter, right? So we had it for the country.
But this is the thing.
We settled on this guy.
Well, thanks for having me.
So,
Trump trying to take some of his manliness back there. Did you see the backwards hand grab there?
I'm just trying to be useful.
This is the interesting. This is where we are as a society, and I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to do it anyway. You're doing all of these things. Nobody at Doge gets paid a penny, correct?
Well, actually, some people are federal employees.
Uh-oh, hot dog. Somehow you didn't have that little tidbit there, did you? Yeah, they're federal employees. They're getting a fat check from our tax dollars.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're helping.
But it's fair to say that the software engineers at Doge could be earning millions of dollars a year, and instead of earning a small fraction of that as
The guys, they took a pay cut for America.
federal employees.
Okay, so
And they're very committed people.
So
That 19-year-old could be earning millions of dollars a year, scamming more people with cons that he was doing on the internet. Absolutely. But he took a pay cut for $500,000 a year.
Yes.
you're committed to helping the blind see, people with spinal cord injuries recover.
Yes.
No, you're committed to figuring out how to do exactly what you've done so far, which is hook a human directly into the internet. Can you imagine, guys, if these implants get FDA approved and you don't even have to pick up your phone, all of your thoughts are instantly transferred into the matrix? That's what he wants.
You're committed to getting to Mars. You're committed to rescue. You're going to help rescue next month 2 astronauts that I think were abandoned. They dispute that in an interview.
When are you
At
gonna
the
get them?
president's request or instruction,
Yeah, I mean, can we focus on that? There's 2 people that were supposed to be there for 2 weeks. They're going to run out of food. Like, let's get those fucking guys out of that fucking space station.
are accelerating the return of the astronauts, which was postponed kind of to a ridiculous degree.
They got left in space.
They've been there. They were supposed to be there 8 days. They're there almost 300.
Biden.
They were yes, they were left up there for political reasons, which is not good.
Okay, it's not.
I'm sorry. There was no politics involved in leaving those out. Anyway.
Good. Now, if I had the weight of the pressure of doing that successfully on my shoulders, I think I'd be, But when we spoke before we did this interview, you are very confident. You think this will be a successful mission.
Well, we don't want to be complacent, but we have brought astronauts back from the space station many times before, and always with success. So, as long as we're not complacent.
When are you going to launch?
I think it's about 4 weeks to bring them back.
How is that?
Yeah.
How is that fast?
And
Why
we're
is it
being
4
extremely
weeks?
Cautious, yeah.
You now have the go-ahead.
Yes. Well, thanks to you.
They didn't have the go-ahead with Biden.
What's that?
He was going to leave him in space. I think he was going to leave him in space.
No, he
Well,
wasn't.
it's like
He
we
considered
were
it
growing
like-
up lost in space.
Yeah, he didn't want the publicity. Can you believe it?
Unbelievable. And so
Yeah.
I want to echo something that the president said and then ask an overarching question. So people get hit with Hurricane Helene. They have no communication with the outside world. You come to the rescue. You donated that, I believe?
yes.
Okay. You donated to the people
He saved a lot of lives.
in
North Carolina, he saved a lot of lives.
and California after the wildfires?
California, but I mean in North Carolina where they were really in trouble, they had no
He doesn't want to talk about California because that's gross lib turds are. Right? He can't give one compliment to California because he fucked the firefighters so hard in California by cutting back federal funding and FEMA. We're only going to talk about the Carolinas where people voted for me. We're not going to talk about California. Fuck those guys.
communication. People were
Nothing.
dying. They were dying of starvation. He saved a lot of lives in North Carolina.
Okay, now you're going to rescue astronauts. And now, and again, you do all of this. I would think liberals would love the fact that you have the biggest electric vehicle company in the world.
No. No. It's the dumbest electric car company in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be adored by the left, you know.
Yeah, not anymore.
Less so these
He
days.
killed that, huh?
No, what killed people's adoration for you, Elon, is your working conditions, which are slave-like conditions inside the United States for the manufacture of those, lovely, lovely, affordable, electric cars, which have questionable safety records and may become sentient and kill all humans. Okay, Jesus.
I mean,
I really didn't know.
I mean, this whole sort of like, they call it like Trump derangement syndrome, and you don't realize how.
This is the new thing that they're saying, guys. Trump derangement syndrome. TDS. They've made up a syndrome for people who disagree with Trump, who disagree with MAGA, and it is called Trump derangement syndrome. And it means that you have lost touch with reality. Let's look it up because it's a real thing that the right has made up. I don't believe that it's been included in the the DSM. See, when you look up TDS, it doesn't even show as one of the possible things. So I have to type it out. Okay. Tears for TDS. Yeah. It's also a crypto asset. People made it into a crypto coin. I don't want the coin part. Guys, let's go to Wikipedia. Trump derangement syndrome is a pejorative term used to describe criticisms of Donald Trump that are perceived to be irrational or to have little regard for Trump's actual policy positions and actions. The term is meant to suggest that Trump's opponents are irrational or incapable of accurately perceiving the world. The term has also been used by opponents of Trump to call for restraint in judging his statements or actions. The origin of the term is traced to Charles Krauheimer, a conservative political columnist, commentator, and psychiatrist who coined the phrase Bush derangement syndrome in 2003 during the presidency of George W. Bush. That syndrome was defined by Krauthammer as the acute onset of paranoia in otherwise normal people in reaction to the policies, the presidency, nay, the very existence of Georgie Porgy Jr. The first use of the term Trump derangement syndrome may have been by Esther Goldberg in August 2015 in an op-ed, The American Spectator. She applied the term to ruling class Republicans who are dismissive or contemptuous of Trump. So guys, this was applied to the Republicans in 2015 who were like, this guy's nuts. She said in an op-ed, commented that in addition to general hysteria about Trump, the Trump derangement syndrome was the inability to distinguish between legitimate policy differences and signs of psychic pathology. So basically, it's a pejorative that now means if you don't look at all the things that Trump's doing and saying and you know, destroying in the country and go, yay, you have TDS, you have Trump derangement syndrome. And it's fascinating that they choose to mention this in a nationally televised interview because they have to make sure that they, again, dog whistle to the culties. We see you, we hear you, we love you. You are correct. We're going to go back just a teeny bit.
They call it like Trump derangement syndrome, and you don't realize how real this is until you can't reason with people. So I was at a friend's birthday party in LA, just a birthday dinner, and everything was like a nice.
Yeah, I went to a friend's in LA.
Quiet dinner, and everyone was behaving normally. And I happened to mention, this is before the election, like a month or two before. I happened to mention the president's name, and it was like they got shot with a dart in the jugular that contained like methamphetamine and rabies. Okay.
Have you tried that? Is that what you're doing? How do you know what that looks like?
I'm like, wow! I'm like, what is wrong, guys? You just can't have a normal conversation. Yeah. And it's like they become completely irrational.
He has no idea. But if you're friends with him, you pay a price. You know, it's like I walk in a restaurant in New York and it's like half the room gets daggers and they want to.
No, the eye daggers level is insane. Yeah. I mean, there was I had some invitation because I got invited to basically a big sort of damn event that was, but I received the invitation the beginning of last year, and I still attended even after I'd endorsed President Trump, and I didn't realize how profoundly that would affect how I was received.
Look at the maniacal laughter here.
I mean, I walk into the room and I'm getting just the dirty looks from everyone. If looks could kill, I would have been dead several times over.
But that was not before Trump. Before Trump, that never happened, right?
No.
Yeah. I do want to make a comment about what Elon said and the perception of Trump and how people react to that, because in 2015, the beginning of 2015, when we started getting inundated with Trump on every media station, they would wait. They would have a camera pointed, waiting for 2 hours because he ran late. Just people blabbing about, well, I wonder when Trump's going to show up. Look at the size of this crowd. These people are blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, Hillary was holding successful rallies. No coverage. No coverage of what she's saying. They would cut away from Hillary to show Trump, right? This man has had a magnetic hold on the media. And how did he do that? He called them fake. You're fake news. Fake news. So they had to prove how real they were. They were going to show him by showing up everywhere to just fucking hang on his every word. I'm not fake. I'm real. Psychological master, Darvo master, Donald Trump. And that's how we got here. Yeah, and Elon used to be a liberal who hated Trump. Remember that? Remember that era? Right? When he was a Democrat? Like Tulsi Gabbard, who's a paid Putin agent, who's now in charge of our fucking Homeland Security. Is awesome. Awesome. I'm surprised she's not going to deputize Jill Stein. The main takeaway here, guys, if we can even have one, the main takeaway right now is that we are not in control. Going to the protests on Monday gave me hope for real people. Okay, because the way that we make the change is we have to show up. We have to show up. We have to make our voices heard. We have to put our bodies out there and bring our whole self. Okay? Because that is the only way we are going to, show people and get people to start looking at what we're thinking about, right? Because this derangement syndrome, right? It's an awful way to characterize a violent reaction to something that repels you, right? A lot of people, me included, right? We hear Trump, we're like immediately your whole body tenses up, right? And you feel anger. And why are we doing that? Why is that our, and I'm going to use the collective we here. Why do we, people who are not ultra right wingers, have that reaction to Trump? This is part of the psychological programming, okay? Starting all the way back to 2003, when Trump started his online campaign to start forming the base needed for him to become president. Okay? He started showing up in more political arenas. Before he was just, he's a fucking business guy. He made steaks and shit. Who gave a shit? He did The Apprentice, whatever. Okay? The Apprentice legitimized him as a businessman. This is a man who's gone bankrupt 7 times in business. But The Apprentice somehow rebranded him, rebranded his whole name as valuable. Okay? And then what happened in 2007? He was on every, and I do mean every, media, radio, television, morning, noon, night, talking about what? What was his first inroads into the political arena? Anyone? Birtherism. That was his experiment. Now, the most ridiculous claim that's ever been made about a sitting president of the United States against Barack Hussein Obama is that he was not, in fact, born where his mother pushed him out of her nene in Hawaii, and that he was somehow not an American. There are people to this day, in the year 2025, that believe that Barack Obama is not an American, that he was born in Kenya. Okay? Donald Trump started that. He repeated it over and over and over and over. And how come I can't get the long form birth certificate? And it shouldn't be this hard to prove that you're an American, right? And he never stopped. He figured out that that was a winning formula. Because the liberals who he was friends with the Clintons. He was friends with all of, the top Dems. Okay? They would never have, can you imagine if he had run as a Democrat and he had to go to a debate on the debate stage, okay, that year that Barack Obama won, okay, we had Hillary, we had Obama, and we had Joe Biden. And if Trump would have run as a Democrat, can you imagine? And we're talking young Joe when he's still had it together. Okay. Can you imagine the three of them just going okay, guys, we have to get this man off the stage, so we're just going to do it, right? Which is exactly what the 17 other Republican candidates thought they were going to be able to do with Trump when he ran in 2015. They thought, there's no, Jeb Bush is at things. Please clap. Right? We had Lindsey Graham, who couldn't even make it to the main stage. He was in the junior high debate, okay? Because he wasn't popular enough to make it to the main stage with 15 other people, okay? He was warning the whole country. Go back and watch Lindsey Graham in 2015 at the RNC debates. And every single word that he says about Trump, let's go find it. Every single word that Lindsey Graham said about Trump in 2015 all came true.
Lindsey Graham, also, there's about 100 people on the Republican side thinking about running for the nomination. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, listen to him here telling CNN's Dana Bash why he thinks he might run too.
Let's see here. No, that's not it.
Here's what will not happen.
Okay, let's just look at a few clips here of Mr. Lindsey Graham, who's now one of the biggest supporters of Trump in Congress. Okay, this is 2016. Look at little baby Lindsey.
Here's what will not happen. Donald Trump is not going to be the nominee of the Republican Party. If he is, that's the end of the Republican Party. Because what he is doing is...
So then if he is, what do you do?
Well, then we'll lose. We'll lose and we should lose. Here's what will not happen.
We'll lose and we should lose. But you guys, you didn't lose. You didn't lose. This is the debate.
Senator Graham, you've called Donald Trump a, quote, wrecking ball for the Republican Party. Voters in your home state of South Carolina in a recent poll prefer Donald Trump 30% to your 4%.
4%. 4% of people in his state that he has represented for years. This man has given everything to his country. He's been a confirmed bachelor so that he cannot be his true self. And in his state, 4%. 4% at the time. Listen to what he had to say.
How do you explain why so many of your constituents would rather have Donald Trump as the Republican nominee than...
And look who's up there with him. Ramaswamy?
Yeah. Well, all I can say, if you looked at polling in 2012 and 2008 at this level, we'd have this stage, you'd have President Perry and President Giuliani. We've got a long way to go.
Yep. Where's the whole... There's one, though.
This is a race to the bottom in 2016, the two most unpopular people in modern history, and I think we just got a slightly faster car, and we're going to win the race to the bottom. But when it's over, clearly I ran and I lost. When it's over, I will help President Trump or President Clinton because they're going to need all the help they can get. But I'm not going where Donald Trump is taking the party. I don't believe that Trumpism is conservatism.
I don't believe that Trumpism is conservatism.
I just can't go there, and I respect people who will go there. Here's the one thing Donald Trump has done. He's united the party around the idea that we need to all vote to protect our Republican majorities in the House and the Senate. If there was ever a time for the country to have conservative leadership in the House and the Senate, it will be in 2017, because no matter who wins the president, whether it's Clinton or Trump, we're going to need some rational people up there putting the brakes on some of these very bad ideas.
So what box will you check?
Who are you going to vote for, Lindsey?
Write somebody in. I mean, what do you plan to do? Obviously, you've thought this through. If there's none of the above on the ballot.
Right. I may just pass. I may write somebody in. I don't know.
He wasn't even going to vote for him.
I think the best days of the Republican Party lie ahead if we can reunite the people who vote for Trump and the people who don't vote for Trump are still Republicans. I would have supported Rand Paul and Ted Cruz. I just can't go where Donald Trump takes the party and the country. I'm sorry I can't. I respect those who will go there. And to Donald Trump, you did an amazing thing. And you've gotten a lot of people who are frustrated with government on your side. They have every reason to be frustrated with the system, but I can't go where Mr. Trump takes us.
He just says it. He kept saying this over and over and over. Let me go back to 2015 because there's a very famous thing that he said in 2015. Here we go.
That he's a jackass.
Really?
That he's bringing his name down and he's not helping the process, and he shouldn't be Commander-in-Chief. If you want to be Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, you need to understand that John McCain and all like him, not just John, are truly American heroes. And then when you put yourself in harm's way, that makes you a hero. But you know what I think makes you a hero? When you're the spouse raising kids when your loved one's deployed. I've been in the military for 33 years. It truly is a team and a family. Mm-hmm. So what he said about John, I think, was offensive.
Do you remember what he said about John McCain, guys, an actual American military hero? He got captured.
He's becoming a jackass at a time when we need to have a serious debate about the future of the party and the country. We're on the verge of giving an Iranian Ayatollah, who's a radical jihadist, a pathway to a nuclear bomb. The world is literally falling apart.
Right? Trump gave him all that money. Remember, guys? He gave him the money.
We're becoming Greece here at home, and all we're talking about is Donald Trump and everybody he insults. But he's crossed the line here. There may be some frustration with our border. I get that. That's no justification.
Frustration with our border, guys. Frustration.
What's the line? What's the line he crossed?
Saying that John McCain and people like him are not American heroes.
Yeah.
The American people will not tolerate what he is doing now regarding those who have served. This is a line he's crossed.
Really? How many more veterans has he insulted along the way?
And this is the beginning of the end of Donald Trump.
Senator, you seem angry.
I am really pissed because John, oh, come on. You know, John and I have been buddies. Forget about John. What about Bud Day? Medal of Honor winner in Iowa that I got to know through John. I cannot tell you how many prisoners of war I met through John McCain, and all of them are incredible people.
Yeah, remember, because John McCain was a prisoner of war, so he was a loser. Got caught.
So it's just not about John. It's about all those who have experienced captivity. And when they asked Trump, you know, well, do you know what he went through? No, that doesn't matter. Yeah, it does matter. It matters a damn lot. It matters a lot that you would be tortured for 5.5 years trying to defend your nation. So I'm confident the people of Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina will figure this out. But
he was very confident. Guys, every Republican thought that Trump was a joke and that the people were smart to not pick this complete buffoon. They didn't take him seriously. They don't understand at all how dictatorship and oligarchy and cults work.
I'm really frankly tired of this. The world is falling apart. My party's trying to reemerge as a viable national voice. I think we're on the verge of a good comeback here. And every time I turn around, I'm being asked about Donald Trump, saying one dumb thing after another, and I'm tired of it.
Well, and you make a good point. John McCain.
And Lindsay's correct. Every single news article, every story, all day, every day. Trump did Trump.
And he's not talking about this a lot. He doesn't want to talk a lot about this.
Won't.
He says he doesn't need an apology from Donald Trump. What do you want to hear from Donald Trump, if anything?
Tell me what you'd do about anything. Tell me how you'd solve the immigration problem. Tell me what you'd do with Iran.
Well, we know what he's doing with it now. And we know what he did with Iran.
You know, articulate a solution to America's problems. Stop disparaging people like Senator McCain. It doesn't elevate you. It gets us all off in a ditch. Try to realize you're running for the highest office in the land, the strongest voice in the world, and take the quest more seriously.
You say this is the beginning of the end of Donald Trump.
I think so.
Why then is he still topping the polls, Senator? The new ABC News Washington Post poll, it was just released. You probably haven't even had a chance to see it since you were in your event.
Yeah, Lindsay's like, don't fucking tell me some more bad news right now, lady.
He's now surged Donald Trump to 24%. That's nearly twice the nearest Republican rival.
Yeah, but I think what's going to happen is that we get serious as a party about picking our nominee. We're going to look at ourselves and say, who do we want to send into the arena to win the White House in 2016? Who is the best person to represent our values?
What values, Lindsay? What values?
We are the party of the military. The thing I like most about my party is that we are strong on national defense. We've had a history of being the soldier's best friend and their families. So what Donald Trump said about John McCain and all those who have served is out of sync with our party. Our party is a group of very hard-working, decent people. So when Donald Trump said that most of the illegal immigrants are rapists and drug dealers, I think our party will say, no, that's
What? Your party's going to say what?
not who we want in the arena with Hillary Clinton, because that voice is a loser's voice. I want a winner's voice.
I want a winner's voice. I want a winner's voice. And then his most famous...
Diplomats and military commanders were very worried when the guy was going to burn the Koran. Remember that, the guy in Florida? I've been there 36 times. I can tell you that most Muslims, most people in the faith, reject this radical ideology. The reason we'll win this war is because very few fathers and mothers want to turn their daughters over to ISIL. The way you win the war, just don't kill terrorists. You invest in the lives of others. Young people in the Mideast are less sectarian. That's where we should be investing. Giving a young woman a voice about her children in the Mideast is the ultimate...
Giving a young woman a voice about her children? Where did this Lindsey Graham go?
Antidote to terrorism. That's how you win the war. A hopeful life versus a glorious death. And what Mr. Trump is doing is undercutting everything we stand for. He's undercutting how you win the war. He's empowering the enemy, and he's putting people at risk who are serving our country. Now, he's never served. Going to a military high school, Donald, is really not military service. You've never worn the uniform. You've never been on a forward operating base. You've never been at a PRT as a member of the Department of Justice or the Department of State. You've never been a USAID worker going into some devastating...
Did he just mention USAID as an important something that Donald Trump could never do?
Poor area in Iraq and Afghanistan, trying to help our country by helping others.
What happened, guys? What happened?
So knock it off. You're putting people at risk. He is empowering radical Islam. And if you knew anything about the world at all, you would know that most Muslims reject this ideology, and they've died by the thousands trying to combat this radical ideology. You're undercutting their efforts. You're slandering their sacrifice. You're marginalizing what they're trying to do to make the world a better place. You know how you win this war? You side with people in the faith who reject this ideology, which is 99%. And you know how you make America great again? Tell Donald Trump to go to hell.
Guys, every single person who is running against Donald Trump said the same exact things. And if we go to Lindsey Graham, okay, let's go to Lindsey Graham in 2020.
Trump and I, we've had a hell of a journey. I hate it being this way. Oh my God, I hate it. From my point of view, he's been a consequential president. But today, first thing you'll see. All I can say is count me out. Enough is enough.
Senator Lindsey Graham on January 6, 2021. He joins us this morning from Jerusalem. Senator Graham, thank you for joining us this morning. We'll get to the events of January 6 later, but I do want to begin with what the White House says is an imminent invasion of Ukraine by President Putin. Are you convinced that Putin's going to go in?
No, I'm not, but I'm convinced that we could do more in Congress and should. We've been working on a...
Yeah. Even there, let's go to 2023, and you can see how one person has completely turned into...
Well, thank you for coming. I'm Senator Graham from South Carolina. I think this is my 9th or 10th trip to Israel since October the 7th. I learn something every time, and I'm reminded why Israel is such a good friend and ally to America and the strength of the Israeli people.
This is 2 days ago.
We met with the Prime Minister tonight, with the Defense Minister and Foreign Minister. A very good engagement. I'll give you my top lines and turn it over to my colleagues. It seems to me the world's going to make 4 decisions fairly quickly here. What to do about the Iranian nuclear ambition. From this trip, and before I came, I believe that Iran is accelerating its efforts to acquire a nuclear weapon.
Yeah. Just look how cowed he is. Look how sickly he looks. Anyway, this is what happens. Okay? The only Republican that has remained consistent in his speaking out about Trump, Mitt Romney. That's the only one. The only one. Lindsey looks like hell now. He looks like hell. Guys, let me get to your questions and comments here. My God. But you guys, you see, the reason why I'm showing all those clips is to show you how things slowly change over time. Lindsay didn't instantly flipped to being like, oh, I love Trump. It took time and a lot of convincing and a lot of pressure. John McCain dead. And if he hadn't died, he'd be fighting Trump too in the street. He'd be fighting him everywhere. All right, let's get to these questions and comments here. Super chats, who sent me money? Anaphylaxis. Thank you so much. Love that you're talking about this here, but I'm sorry that you have to. Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, you did it twice. You're such a sweetheart. Thank you, Anna. Appreciate. Let's go to comments first here. Going in and cutting off money to a department is not saving money, and it's definitely not proof of fraud. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be gone way before that, Vernon. You know, it'll be gone by, if not by the end of this year, by 2026. That's my prediction. Do I want that? I'm not trying to say things I want, guys. This isn't a fucking Amazon wish list. I'm just saying, with the way things are going, it's not looking good. Someone needs to show me the money. What worries me is our medical info being looked at and treated like, the movement in Germany and Austria, which was immediately kill anyone disabled. Yes. RFK is already, talking about the wellness camps and getting rid of SSRI medication as a whole, just wholesale. So fuck you if you're depressed. We're going to make a camp where you can just roll in grass and your own feces for your health. This small airport. Yeah. Oh, we did that. They clearly don't realize how ridiculous they look to the rest of the world, allowing government access to the highest bidder in plain view of everyone. Yeah. No, he doesn't care. Because his culties are allowing him to do this. I was going to floof my hair back here. If the MAGA culties got upset about this and they stopped donating and they, that's why we have to vote with our money on next Friday, right? We have to vote with our money because it's the only language that these fucks understand. Oh, no. You're absolutely correct, Christine. They would not have done this interview if they weren't trying to clean up a total PR nightmare. And also they want to talk over the MAGA supporters that are like, hey, actually, things are really fucked up for me and I'm a farmer and I just lost everything. I thought you guys were going to help me, right? They got to talk over the people who supported them, who voted for them, who showed up at the rallies. Because now a lot of those people are starting to wake up and start to realize they got fucked at the drive-thru. To quote Joe Pesci, they got fucked at the drive-thru. Starlink is also affecting our ability to watch for meteors and asteroids. Yes, because they use slow capture technology and Starlink blocks the view. Correct. Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's a whole movie called Armageddon starring Bruce Willis where he has to save us from fucking Earth-killing asteroid or anything, or Don't Look Up. Honey says, that's why I said I would like to see him build a Tesla from scratch by himself. He wouldn't be able to do it. Oh, no. Are you joking? He can't do that. He ain't coming for any bilateral chats in Canada anytime soon. This is a comedy show. People are going to take up arms at some point. I think that may happen. I think people should be prepared for everything. Please look into Jocelyn Rojo Carranza, 11-year. She's 11-year-old. Oh my God. She unalived herself because kids were using threats of calling ICE on her undocumented mother. Jesus Christ. I will, yeah. Yeah, we all thought Red Dawn was going to happen, Cher. I wanted Patrick Swayze to save me too. There's a difference between questioning science and being a twat. Yes. I appreciate you, Kelly. Thank you. I torment people who accuse me of TDS. I ask about the Daily Show, tenacity deposit scheme, telephone data systems, etc. They hate it. VPM, I worked in media. The editors pine for the most sensationalist. Yeah. It's not about truth. It's about what's going to sell papers. What's going to get the clicks. Yeah. One of the producers of The Apprentice was on MSNBC or CNN saying that they totally lied about how successful Donny was. Yeah. No, it was all fucking bullshit. One thing Biden said that I actually didn't agree with is that America should lead the world. Excuse me, sir, but the rest of the planet should get a say in that. And no, thank you. Yeah. I don't think any one country should be in charge of everything. Right? Because first of all, we've never even, you know what's funny to me about this comment merely, is that whenever we watch science fiction films, right? Okay. And space exploration is happening, Star Trek, Star Wars, you know, all these things, right? And they go to a different planet. First of all the people of the planet look exactly the same. And all the people of the planet speak that planet's language, right? They're just somehow all that. Why is Earth so fucking weird? Like, not to get, you know what I mean? Like, why? Earth is like the America of the universe. You know what I mean? Like, we're this hodgepodge of weird shit and weird people that don't all, you know, look the same, you know, talk the same, eat the same shit, whatever, you know, different climate. You know, it makes no sense that when we're imagining extraterrestrial life, they are always as one. It's just one race, one people, one thing. And I don't know if that's like the science fiction people's idea of like, you know, racism is that, you know, like we can't have different amounts of melanin, different nose and eye shapes here because we're just very upset about that. But on other planets, they just all kind of look the same. Is that unimaginative? Or is it like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, why is that always the way? Why is there no other planet out there, you know, except for, I would say, like in the Marvel universe, Kree, like the planet Kree, I would liken a lot to Earth, right? And it's like, why is that the only one that's ever shown that? But everywhere else, it's like, you know, they are all the same. Anyway. And they have like one planet fucking government and they, you know, one planetary defense and like, you know, and on Earth, we're like, you know, we can't even decide all together like, hey, let's not murder the Earth. You know, like Jesus. Anyway, random thoughts from a nerd. Okay. Obvious question. Why is it inspectors general and not inspector generals? Because they are not generals. They are inspectors. There's multiple inspectors and they do that in a general fashion. So it's different definitions of the words. I don't know yet. Bo, I do not know. I will be checking that immediately upon ending the stream. Yeah. How is any of this being allowed to happen? Is Elon even a politician? No. Because we live in the upside down, Jane. What kind of headphones do you have? I'm very interested in getting good quality alternative to my cheap earplug ones. Okay, so I just bought these. And I actually bought the cheapest version of them because I didn't want to spend too much money. But these are Audio Technica. They were like $50 from Best Buy. They were on sale. And they're really nice. They're very cush, very light. Like I don't know how I feel about all this stuff up here. I don't know why I need that in particular, but it's not tight on my head. They sound great. Yeah. Do you ever think we'll get a Jean-Luc Picard future? Right now, I don't think we're in that timeline, Cher. I hope so. That would be amazing. I hope so. Right? We don't imagine the diversity. Why is that? Is that just like inherent, like white supremacy racism in science fiction writers? You know, and people get really, I know. But like it's always fascinated me that go look at all the science fiction, Ray Bradbury, Isaac Asimov, all these, it's all like the one thing. I don't understand. Right. Donna, very, very correct. It's the same with attorneys general. Correct. Oh, I got to attach my antenna. Get better reception. Got it. All right, guys. Tomorrow's another day, another dollar. If you're not a member, become a member. Let's just check on my baby channel here. Where are we at? Guys, we are so close to 1,000 subscribers. If you are not a subscriber, please, for the love of everything that is holy in this world, subscribe. Got it. Subscribe. Now it's me and me. Let's go here. Where are we at? 946 subscribers. 946 subscribers, guys. We are so close. We are 54 away from 1,000. We got to break that and keep on going. But I thank you guys so much for being here. I thank you guys on the replay crew. You can become a member. But once that 1,000 subscriber mark happens, what happens is magic from, YouTube gods rain down upon me, fraction of pennies per view. And then my life turns golden. But thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. We'll be back because, it's going to be another Trump dump tomorrow. I'm working on editing all of the interviews that I did at the protest into smaller bite-sized portions. And we'll get those out as soon as humanly possible. If you want to join me for book club in 1 hour, you can see me on my other channel, What's Up with Nora. And we are reading. Where'd it go? I have too many things on my desk. We are going over the 4 agreements. Today we are going over chapter 2, I believe. Let me make sure. Yes. Chapter 2, the first agreement. Okay. So if you want to join for that and learn about how to be impeccable with your word, just like we talked about a bit yesterday, join me there. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Oh No, America. I'm your host, Nora Ames. Hopefully this day has been informative, fun, and given you a little sparkle of America. Thank you to my mods, as always, for keeping things cool, chill. And if you guys want some of that sweet, sweet merch, hit us up at ohnomerica.com.
You'll find